Hi, and welcome to week 2 of our Kapha practice here, the second week of March. So last week was a very active practice about building prana and heat in the body, and particularly in the heart center, and working with a meditation with a flame in the heart center. And this week we're working with a lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is often overlooked, but it's a very important part of kapha. It's a very important part of our immune system, a part of our inflammation response in the body, and it can become a little stagnant like other areas of the body during kapha season with this heaviness of kapha, and make us more prone to those colds and flus that we are more prone to these this week and a half before and after the spring equinox. And so the lymphatics are kind of it's kind of the surface of the skin, very superficial, but also deep in the torso, and particularly concentrated in the groins and the armpits. And the lymph all drains to the main lymph in the heart center. So we're going to be working not about going really deep in our poses, but we're working with changing pressure to get that lymphatic fluid to flush and to start to clean that out. And you'll find that less is more in this practice, but we're going to be doing some really different things than we normally do in our practice. So you're going to need a ball, and I have one of these little pinky balls. You could also use a therapy ball if you have one, or a tennis ball. And if you have one of these prickly balls, I don't know if you can see that. You can use one of those as well. In the video, I just used the pinky ball. But we're going to start with the periphery, being the feet, and begin a pumping motion to begin to move the lymphatic fluid up and to the center of the body. So let's go ahead, gather your props. You need a couple of blocks. Hopefully you have some by now. And a blanket is necessary for some of the postures we were doing, and also the ball to get started to begin that flush from the periphery, working our way inwards. And then we're going to start in standing. So gather your things and let's get going. All right, starting with your ball, we're going to place it under the right foot, right in the center of the foot. And we're just going to use gentle pressure, not super hard, in the center of the foot, and just leaning into it and pressing and releasing. So it's almost like we're pumping, and this begins that action of pumping lymphatic fluid through the foot and up towards the calves. So just lean in and release, and lean in and release. The lymphatic system doesn't have a heart to pump like our blood system, and so it's just by the movement and pressure of the muscles and joints around it that create this. So now we're going to roll from the ball of the foot all the way to the heel, and the pressure is from the toes to the heel, and then we just release the pressure to come back to our start and start over again. And if you can do it just through the center and then maybe to the outside and the inside, it's a little harder to control there, you can try that. But from toes to heel, from toes to heel. And keep moving in this manner, releasing the pressure as you move the ball back to the top of your foot, and then pressing down as you go toward the heel. And now we're just going to just lightly scribble the foot from side to side. It's like you're scribbling with a pencil. And then just release. Come into mountain pose, both feet pressing down, and feel the difference from one side to the other. And let's go ahead and start on our left foot. So finding the center of your foot, and then just that pumping action again, pressing and releasing, pressing and releasing. Leaning into it and easing off the pressure. And this shouldn't be super hard, just stimulating that lymphatic fluids just under the surface. So nothing really deep. And now we're going to begin to go from toe to heel again. So through the center of the foot, and then light pressure as you return the ball to the start at the top of your foot. and increasing the pressure as you roll from toes to heel. So where it's like we're massaging that fluid up towards the calves. And just keep going at your own pace. Going through center, you can also move it to the inside and to the outside, as though you're drawing lines from toes to heel. And now just scribbling the ball from side to side. And just really light stimulation here. So really this is about changing pressures in areas of the body to move the fluid around. And just come back into mountain pose and just close your eyes and feel into both feet here. And begin to connect with your deepest belly breath as we stand in mountain pose. Now you can open the eyes. And if you're not at the top of your mat, come to the top of your mat. Inhale to reach up. Reach up, stretch up to the sky. And as you exhale, fold forward. Bow to the earth. Inhale, lift the heart and lengthen the spine. Exhale, bow down once again. And use the inhale to rise and reach up to the sky. We're going to do this 3 times. Exhale, bowing down. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reach wide up to the sky. Lengthen. Exhale, bow. The inhale lifts the heart, lengthens the spine. This time as we exhale, step the right foot back and the left foot back. Come down to your knees. We're moving into dolphin to begin to move that lymphatic fluid. So even if you're have issues with your shoulders, you can just lift your knees an inch up off the mat. And this begins to bring some strengthening and energy into the upper body. You can also begin to draw the chest towards the thighs, keeping your knees bent. And then experiment with beginning to lift the hips higher and pressing the thighs back to straighten the legs a little bit more. So you decide where you need to be, or if you need to come in and out by bringing your knees back down again and going through that same process of lifting the knees slightly and then working at drawing the chest towards thighs and then working thighs straighter. Those of you that are in dolphin, you might play with lifting, starting with left leg up to the sky. And if you lift your leg, begin to roll your ankle. So you're creating circles with your foot. And this helps to, again, draw the lymphatic fluids from the periphery of the body into the calves and through the thighs and into the area of the groin where there's a plethora of lymphatic glands and fluids here. Go ahead and exhale, come down into child's pose, giving your shoulders a rest. And let's go through that same process again, pressing into the elbows and forearms, lifting your knees a little bit, maybe lifting them a little bit more as chest draws towards the thighs. And then lifting the hips even higher as the legs move straighter. And again, you can experiment floating the right leg up to the sky and begin to make circles at the ankle. Circling the foot as though you're drawing a circle with your toes and going in both directions. Moving that fluid through the body. Releasing the stagnation of just settling in your feet, in your legs. And let's go ahead and bring that leg down. Coming into dolphin, bring your knees down. And then taking a moment in child's pose. And if you want to come into classic child's pose with your arms alongside your shins, that can give your shoulders a little bit more of a rest as well. Taking a few breaths here with forehead resting down. And as you rest in child's pose, just feel that compression of the thighs against the belly. We have a lot of lymphatic glands in the torso as well. So as you inhale, go ahead and come up, and we're going to find our way to a seat on your mat, in the center of your mat. Taking a moment to make that transition. And then we're going to bring the legs into a shape of deer pose, so kind of like a Z. Sorry, I have a few obstacles in class today before I can show you that shape. So I'm starting with knees over to the left side. And you can have them really close, your feet close to you or further away. It's a little easier further away. Bring your hands to your heart center. And we're just going to lift the knees and switch them over to the other side. So we're engaging the core to do this. You might find you begin to walk a little bit on your mat. And experiment with feet close and feet further away. And so just moving with your breath from side to side and keeping the spine tall and straight, and trying not to use your hands. If you need to bring your hands down, just bring fingertips down to give you a little bit of support so that you're not bringing a lot of weight into the hands. And so this is stimulating that area in the groin where we have a large amount of lymphatic glandular tissue here. And so we're working with the muscles as well as compression and release, which helps to move the fluids around. And now just come to any seated position that's comfortable for you for side bending. So this not only opens us up for more breath as we lengthen and release tension in the side body, but we're also working with the armpits where there is also a lot of lymphatic glandular tissue. So we're working with breath, filling that right side body, and then back over to the left. And you might be feeling this all the way down to the hip as you move from side to side. And then coming back to center, making way onto hands and knees. And you can have blocks here as well if you're having wrist or shoulder issues. In tabletop, you can have your hands on blocks, which takes a lot of pressure off of the wrists and shoulders. You can be on your fingertips as well, which again takes pressure off the wrists. If you're not having any issues, just bring hands to the floor for cat-cow. So moving with your breath, the exhale, curling in, belly button draws in, and the inhale, opening the front body. And now the right leg, we begin to make circles out to the side and around. Again, working with the groin and the hip muscles, moving that fluid as we squeeze and release with the muscular action. And again, if this is hard on your wrist, come to your fingertips, as though you have a cupcake under the palm of your hand that you're trying not to squish. And then as we finish that side, release into child's pose before we move to second side. You can come up on your fingertips here in child's pose so that your forearms and elbows lift off the mat and the palm of your hand, which brings a little more stretch into the armpit area and side body. And then come back into tabletop, choosing the hand position that works for you. And we start working with the left leg. So the knee is bent and circling the leg bone in the hip. So we're making a circle with our knee, basically. And moving it with your breath. Using the exhale as the knee comes towards the belly and inhaling as it releases away. So we're still working with breath with our movements. And then back to child's pose. And again, you can have hands down or come to your fingertips to get into that tissue in the armpit area and side body. Taking a few nice deep breaths here. And then let's lower all the way down to the belly for a supine back bend, belly down back bend. So you can come into cobra, pressing the tops of the feet down. Or you can press all the way up to upward facing dog if you wish. And then use your exhale to find your way back to downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths in down dog. And you can also be in puppy dog here or even child's pose if that's more appropriate for you. Inhale your left leg up to the sky and inhale right leg up to the sky. Come down to the knees and come back down to child's pose. You can do this in tabletop as well, extending left leg, extending right leg. So that action of opening the groins and compressing the groins. Step forward on an exhale to Uttanasana. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and inhale to rise up to the sky. Coming into mountain pose. Take a pause here. Feeling into the feet. Finding your breath, and then using the inhale to reach to the sky and lengthen the spine. Invite a back bend. Release the hands down to the sacrum. Thumbs to the center. Inhale, lift the heart. Invite a little more back bend. And as we exhale, folding forward, slide your hands down the back of the thighs. Inhale, halfway lift, heart lifts. And exhale, stepping the right foot back into a lunge position. And you can have your blocks here under both hands if you wish. Or you can have hands on the mat or be on your fingertips, whatever's most appropriate for what's happening in your wrists, shoulders. And now we're twisting towards our left, towards our front bent knee. So left arm is reaching to the sky, right hand is grounded on a block or on your mat, and right leg is out behind you. Find your breath here as you broaden through the heart center. Now bringing a little bit of lightness to that right hand, we're going to shift forward and bring the right knee to tap your left calf and step it back. So we're going to do that again a couple more times. Shift the weight and bring the knee close to the calf or even to touch if you can. And if you can keep that left arm reaching up to the sky, even better. And then once you've done 3 times, lower the back knee. And again, hand can be on your block. And we're going to step the left leg back. So this is a variation of side plank, sorry. And then bringing that foot forward and in front of your bent knee into a supine twist shape, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Back into your side plank variation. And then step that left foot to the front of the mat, lift the back knee, and we're back where we started from. Except I have a puppy. Step it back to downward facing dog. Hopefully that went better for you than it did for me with my puppy obstacle. Take a few breaths in down dog. Inhaling and exhaling. You could also be in puppy dog or child's pose here. And then we step that right foot forward. And same scenario here using a block. This time the left hand is grounded. The right hand reaches to the sky in our lunge twist. And you notice I have my right hand inside, my left hand inside of that right foot. And now we're going to shift our weight forward here, drawing the back knee to touch the calf of the front leg. And we're going to do that 2 more times. Exhale, see if you can tap the calf. Step it back. 1 more time. Step it back. Bringing that back knee down, we're shifting into our side plank variation. Your foot can be down touching the floor or it can be up in the air. And now from here, we're bringing that floating leg to cross in front of our knee and see if you can sit down in that shape for our twist. Lift back up, back into side plank variation. And then step that right foot up, coming back into our lunge position. Again, I hope you're not having the obstacles that I'm having right now of my puppy eating all of my props. Step back into downward facing dog. If you need to pause that and go back over that again, It's kind of a different sequence than what we normally do. You can pause that and go back. Otherwise, take a couple of breaths in downward facing dog. Downward facing dog is a bit of an inversion, which is awesome for our lymphatic system. Step it forward. On an exhale, inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, bow, and inhale, rise. Reach up to the sky and draw your hands through heart center. Take a moment's pause here in mountain pose, Tadasana. Finding your center, finding your breath. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Bow to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. The heart lifts. Lengthen the spine. And find your block again. Hopefully you've got it within reach. And we're going to do a little bit of work with kapatabali in these next few poses. So kapatabali is that forced exhale from the lower abdomen. So left hand is on your block and bring some of the weight out of the left foot. As you inhale, lift high to the sky with your right arm and left leg. And come back down. So we're adding kapatabali breath now. And as you lift and reach, let that be your exhale where the belly draws in. Inhale as you come back to start. And moving with your movement with your exhale breath. You can go slow or you can go fast depending how you're feeling. This is really helping to flush the lymphatic and clear out the lungs at the same time. Go ahead and exhale, fold forward. Release that. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and rise to the sky on the next inhale. And draw into your heart as you exhale. So we often do that in tabletop. So it's basically something that we have done, just not in Uttanasana, forward fold. So let's get ready to do our second side. Inhale, reach to the sky. And as we exhale, bring your hands to your sacrum. Let's invite that back bend again. Elbows back, thumbs to the sacrum. Exhale, slide the hands down the legs as you fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And then grab your block. Block comes under the right hand. We're drawing the belly in, back is flat. And so this time we're going to be reaching with left hand and right leg. So bringing a little weight out of the right leg. We exhale, reach it up. Inhale as we come back down. Inhale, reach long. And inhale, come down. So the exhale is the lift as we start our kapatabali breath. Keep moving with your pace. Arm and leg lift on the exhale. And inhale happens on its own as we come back to our starting position. Moving at your pace. Keep moving with the kapatabali breath. A few more rounds if you can. And then if you are ready, go ahead and release down into Uttanasana, your forward fold. Bow to the earth. Let go of the kapatabali breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. And inhale to rise and reach to the sky. Draw through your heart center. Mountain pose. Tadasana. Take a few breaths in your mountain pose as we set up for our next posture with kapatabali breath. So we're coming into Hasta Tadasana. So we really want to ground into our feet, strong in the legs, tailbone dropping towards the floor, front ribs drawn in. Inhale, reach to the sky. Intertwine your fingers, point your index finger up if you wish. Keep the belly strong and drawn in. And then begin to invite your back bend, not the deepest back bend you're capable of, because we're going to add kapatabali here. So as you exhale, Just pulse back a little bit further and then come a little bit more upright to allow the inhale to happen. Moving at your pace of kapatabali breath in this standing back bend, mini back bend. Keep going a couple more breaths if you can, and then exhale, arms down through heart center. Take a couple normal breaths here in mountain pose. And then from here, we're going to be moving into malasana, or a squat pose. And some of you might want to block for this, so have that handy if that's something that you need. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And bring your feet wide on your mat here. And then slowly bend the knees and come into malasana. So if you wish, you can put a block or a meditation cushion under your seat, under your root, to facilitate this pose for you. And then extend the right arm down towards the floor and press the arm into the knee into the arm. And extend the left hand up to the sky. So it's though you're twisting towards your left knee. And then as you inhale, bring your hands together. As you exhale, bring them wide. Inhale together. Exhale wide. And then we're going to add kapatabali. Inhale, the hands come together. Exhale, we press open. Keep moving at your pace. Again, it can be slow or fast. And you might want to just pick a spot on the floor to gaze, because it can be a little dizzying to follow your hand with your gaze. Keep moving with your breath. The exhale, we press open. Inhale happens on its own as hands come back together. And then stay in the open position and release the hands down. Lift the hips up. Uttanasana. Let that go. Let your head be released towards the floor, releasing through the neck. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, come back into malasana for our second side. Again, you can sit on your block or your meditation cushion. And this time, the left hand comes inside the knee towards the floor. Right hand reaches up to the sky as we twist right. Just pause here for a moment. Find the shape. And then inhale, hands together. Exhale, hands apart. And then connect with your kapatabali. Inhale, hands together. Exhale, kapatabali. Inhale, exhale. Keep moving with your breath in this manner. The exhale as the arms come wide. Inhale as the hands come back to touch. A couple more rounds here. And then we'll stay in the open position with arms wide in our twist for just a breath. And then hands come back to the floor. Lift the hips high. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow down. And inhale, rise all the way up. Reach to the sky and draw into your heart center. Take a breath in Tadasana. We're going to be moving into triangle pose and utilizing our kapatabali in our triangle pose. So kapatabali is very cleansing breath. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips to the floor. Step the right leg back. Pivot that foot down to the floor. Rise up in your warrior two shape. And then straighten the front leg. So the left leg is straight. Reach that left arm as far to the front of the room as you can. And then simply let that arm drop without changing anything in the upper body. Reach the right arm up to the sky in your triangle. So we're not looking for the deepest triangle you can go, because we're going to pulse with kapatabali breath. So the inhale, we come up. The exhale, kapatabali, we move a little bit deeper, which is why you don't want to be at your deepest point. Keep moving with your kapatabali breath. And then release, come all the way up. Turn both feet to be parallel towards the long side of your mat. And just breathe here in the wide stance. Let's simply turn our toes to the opposite direction. So right toes point to the back of your mat. And extend right arm, reach, reach, reach. Create as much length as you can on right side body. And just let that right arm drop. And keep the torso here as you reach up. And then we're going to start our pulses with kapatabali. So again, kapatabali is that forced exhale in the low belly. So we're just pulsing, just moving a little bit in and out. We're not making big movements here. We're not going super deep in our triangle. It's all about the breath. And then come all the way up. Feet come parallel once again. Take a breath or two right here. Nice inhales, nice exhales. You can intertwine your fingers behind your back if that's accessible to you, or grab opposite elbows as we move into wide-legged forward fold, Prasarada Padottanasana. Let your head dangle here, release tension and holding in the neck. And feel that opening in the hamstrings, the back of the knees, where we have a lot of lymphatic tissue. Shift your feet to the top of your foot to the top of your mat, bend the front knee and step back into downward facing dog. You can also be in child's pose here or puppy dog. If you feel that you need to take a vinyasa, you can go ahead and flow or stay in down dog or child's pose and wait for us to meet you back there. The flow is, vinyasa is not a big part of today's class, so you choose. And choose your back bend of cobra or upward facing dog if you've chosen to flow. And meet us back in downward facing dog. On your exhale, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, bow down. And inhale, rise, reach to the sky. Come all the way up and draw into your heart center. Mountain pose. Then we're stepping back with the right foot. And coming into fiery angel. So your feet are turned out to a 45-degree angle. Just make sure the feet and knees are going in the same direction. Hands at your heart center. Sometimes this is called horse stance as well as fiery angel. And then we begin to pivot the right foot so that we come onto our toes and face the front of our mat into crescent moon, reach to the sky. So we're going through a series of poses here like a flow. And then exhale, hands reach out behind you as we lean forward into runner's lunge. And then hands to heart center. We come into flamingo. That right leg rises up. And now we move into warrior 3 variation. You may reach the arms overhead. And then step it back, come back into our horse stance or fiery angel position. We're going to do exactly the same thing to the other side. So begin to shift that, keeping the knees bent, shift onto the toes of that left leg and face the back of your mat, coming into crescent lunge. And then reach the arms to the sky if you haven't already. And our crescent lunge. Hands come through heart center, reach out behind you, runner's lunge. Bringing strengthening into that front leg. From here, hands to heart center, back leg comes forward into flamingo, lifting that left knee parallel to the floor. And then we're moving into warrior 3. Are the arms reaching overhead? Or hands could also be beside you. Step it back, come back into our horse stance or fiery angel. I have a few teeth marks in my candles. All right, from our fiery angel, we're going to go through that sequence again. So we begin to shift onto the right toes, keeping the back knee bent until we come into our crescent moon. Inhale, reach it up to the sky in your crescent moon. And then the exhale, we come into runner's lunge, reaching forward over that front leg. Hands to heart center, we come into flamingo. You might step that foot up to find your balance. And then warrior three. Press that right foot back as we reach overhead, or arms at heart center. Step it back into our fiery angel, hands at your heart center. And then last time to second side, begin to pivot the left leg till you come onto the ball of your foot towards the back of your mat. We've come into our crescent lunge, so there's a lot of balance playing here as well. Reach to the sky. And then on your exhale, runner's lunge. Reach the torso forward, arms behind you. Hands to heart center, we come into flamingo. Knee comes parallel to the floor, and then warrior three. Challenging balance, do better than me. Reach it out, step it back. We come back into our fiery angel horse stance. Beautiful. And then shift to the top of your mat and step it back, downward facing dog. Come down to your knees, come into child's pose. Take one last flow if you'd like to flow. Moving through your choice of back bend of cobra or upward facing dog. And then we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Let's come down to your knees. And we're going to find a blanket. So you don't want your blanket to be really wide. We're just going to roll a short portion of it. As soon as you see what we're going to do with it, you'll know if you've got yours folded correctly. We're going to place that rolled up portion right into the groin. And we're starting with left leg forward. If you need to pause the video to set up your blanket, go ahead and do that. So we're in a low lunge here. And then we are twisting towards that front leg, towards our left side. So you can catch your elbow on your knee. You could also have both hands down or both hands on blocks as well. And you could also have that right forearm on that knee and left hand on your left hip, if that's more appropriate for your body. So you're going to feel the pressure in the groin area, and that's really helping to flush the lymphatic glands. Release, come upright, release the pressure, and we go back into the pose again. So if you're in a twist, you go back into your twist, and if you had hands down on blocks, go back to that version. Or play with moving in and out of the twist if holding the twist is difficult for you. Breathing into your belly here, feeling that pressure. And then it might be possible for you to lift the back knee, or you might even bring the heel down on that back foot. So come all the way upright, release that pressure, just hold on to your blanket and try to open up the groin a little bit and open the front body a little bit. And now we're going back into it in the high lunge position. If this doesn't work for you, go back to the first variation with knee down. So you'll feel the sensation of the twist a little bit better, a little bit differently. And then inhale, rise up, open up, and go back into the twist. So we're working with compressing and then releasing, compressing and then releasing, which helps to flush the lymphatics. Rising back up again. And then dropping the back knee. Set the blanket off to the side for just a moment. Step both knees back. Come upright. Open the front body here. Turn your toes under if you wish. And step the right foot forward right now. And now we're twisting towards the left, and see if it's possible for your left hand to touch your left heel. And if it is, inhale, reach that right arm to the sky. So we're a bit of a diagonal here. You could also have that left hand at your left hip if reaching the heel isn't appropriate. And now we're set up for our second side. So get that roll right into the groin here as you fold over that front leg and come into your twist. So hands can be at heart center. You could have forearm on the knee and top arm or top hand at your hip. But we're really more concerned about what's happening at the groin here. And what the hands are doing is just helping to facilitate that. Breathing, staying with your ujjayi breath, and then release up. Allow the flood of fluid to come back into the groin, and then we exhale. Come back into your twist. Coming back to the compression. It's like squeezing and releasing a sponge. Stay with your breath here. Finding some ease in these postures. And remember, you can have hands down on the floor, on blocks, or on your front knee, or in your twist as you lift the back knee. And you can pivot that back heel down as we rise up. Open the front body as much as you can here. Release. Exhale, come back into our twist. And as you come back into your twist, you might pivot back onto the ball of the foot on the back foot. Inhale, rise up. Release pressure on the front body. Open. And then exhale, come back into your twist one more time. Staying with your breath here. And then pivot the heel down, open the front body, come upright once again. And last time into our twist. And then drop your back knee, release the blanket. We're done with the blanket for now. Both knees come back. So you're kneeling in an upright position, opening the front body, opening the groins. Step that left leg forward, and we'll do the same shape we did before. So twisting towards your right side, and hand can be on your sacrum, or fingertips can reach to the back heel as we open into a little bit of a front thigh opener. Very gentle, nothing crazy. And then step it back into tabletop for a few rounds of cat-cow. And then coming into child's pose again, feeling that compression. Bring your hands to your sacrum, the back of your hands resting on the sacrum, forehead resting on the floor. Sit bones towards your heels in child's pose. Just a couple breaths here. And then we're going to begin moving out, in and out of camel prep. So as you inhale, reach up to the sky, rise up on your knees. As you exhale, come back down to child's pose with hands at the sacrum. Inhale, reach to the sky, lengthen the spine up. And exhale, come back down. Forehead touches, hands to the back of the sacrum. Inhale, reach to the sky, lengthen high, and stay upright, but bring your hands back to the sacrum. We're going to do one round of camel pose. You can choose the variation that's best for you today. You can curl toes under or have the tops of the feet flat down. Hands can stay on the sacrum. Begin to lift the heart up to the sky. Lengthen up. We're more worried about the lengthening of the spine than how far back you can go. Keep lifting. If it's appropriate for you, you can reach to your heels or to blocks if you have your blocks alongside your shins. But really lift through the heart center. Open the front body, open the groins. And then come back to center, engaging through the core and releasing down into child's pose. Couple breaths here in child's pose. Arms can be alongside your shins if you wish. And then we're going to make our way onto your belly. You can come into dolphin, as I am doing here, and then lower the knees, lower the pubic bone, stay long in the spine, and come into Sphinx pose. So again, opening through the front body, and then release the forehead down. Rest your head on the back of your hands. Rock your hips from side to side. Breathe into the belly. And then inhale, press up and back. Child's pose once again. And then from here, we're making our way to a seat. And you're going to grab your block if you don't have it handy. So lying down on your back, have your block within reach, and just take a moment to stretch completely out on your mat, reaching the arms overhead, reaching through the heels, and then walk your feet over to the right side and cross your left ankle over your right leg, right ankle. And then walk your hands over in the same direction. So it's like you're creating a C shape with your body, or a crescent moon shape with your body. And we're curving over towards the right side. And as we do this, breathe deeply into the left side body. Space in the left armpit, left ribs, left hip. And staying here for just a few more breaths into breathing that whole left side body. And then release, come back to center. Take a breath in center, walk your feet over to the left side now. Cross right leg over left ankle. And walk the arms over to the left side. And you can grab right wrist with the left hand. Breathing into the right side body now, creating length all through that right side body, from wrist to ankle. Space in the side ribs. Stimulates the connective tissue that the lymphatics run through. Release back to center and then bend your knees, soles of the feet to the mat. Take a moment and allow your knees to windshield washer from side to side. It's nice if you can have your feet wide on your mat, because that gets a little bit more into the groin as you move your legs from side to side, and a little more into the side body. And you can linger for a moment if it feels really juicy in one side. Just feel that open sensation through the groins and side body. Moving with your breath, with your inhales and your exhales. And then let's come back to center. Pause here, let your sacrum sink. And you've got a couple of variations here. So first variation is moving into regular bridge pose by intertwining the fingers, rolling the shoulders under as the hips lift. And second variation is tucking your block under the sacrum, onto the bony part of the back of the pelvis, and coming into supported bridge pose here. You choose the appropriate one for you today. My suggestion would be supported bridge pose, but it is your call for what feels best for you. And then from here, we're moving into supported shoulder stand, or a variation of. Those of you that were in full bridge, you might want to move into plow pose and then shoulder stand. but I am demoing supported shoulder stand here. So as you move into this inversion, whichever one you've chosen, with the legs up, begin to circle at the ankles. Again, moving that fluid from the periphery. We're using gravity to move the lymphatic fluid down the legs, into the groin, and into the main lymphatics at the heart, excuse me, at the heart center. Staying here for a few more breaths, just enjoying that reverse of gravity and allowing all the fluids in the legs to drain. Staying connected to breath, closing the eyes. And I really like this no effort inversion of supported shoulder stand. So we're slowly going to begin coming out of whichever version we were in, and slowly making your way down so the hips touch down, knees are bent, letting the pelvis just ground with each breath. And then go ahead and extend your legs straight for a couple of breaths here. Just lying on your back. And so those of you that were in full shoulder stand, you can move into fish pose now. And I'm also going to demo supported fish. So this is placing a block just under the shoulder blades. Now you can have a second block under your head. I happen to not have my second block within reach. If it's comfortable for you, you can maybe place a blanket under the head. You can place your block on whatever height is appropriate. Or you can also do what I'm doing here and support your head by intertwining your fingers, elbows reaching towards the back room to open through the armpits even more. So it's kind of acting as a hammock for the head, at the same time opening armpits and still working with the lymphatics. And then slowly we're going to begin to release out of your fish or supported fish. And you can use your hands as a hammock for your head here after that deep back bend for just a couple of breaths. And then release arms, release legs. Release the breath. Coming into Shavasana. Begin to sense that quality of well-being wash over you as you drop back into the earth. Sense a quality of trust in your capacity to keep coming back to this health and state of balance through this powerful but subtle system. And feel that trust for capacity for your health settle into your bones. And allow yourself to bathe in that radiance and well-being for the next few moments in your Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. As you continue to deepen your breathing, begin to bring some movement into fingers and toes. Perhaps stretching the arms overhead and stretching the toes away from you. And then drawing your knees in and rolling to your right, coming into fetal position. And then from here, pressing yourself to an upright position and finding your way to a seat, a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. Sitting on a prop, leaning against the wall, or perhaps even sitting in a chair. And then as you find your way to your seat and allow your body to begin to settle into this new position, begin to notice your breath. Begin to bring your awareness inside. Notice the weight of your bones. Connect to small little pulsations that travel down the arms and into the hands. Exhale and settle in so that awareness is turned inward. Not only to your breath, but to this space of the heart. In many parts of yoga tradition, it is sometimes called the ocean of the heart. The ocean is vast and boundless and thought to be unending. And this is a metaphor to connect to the boundlessness and the infinite capacity of your heart. As you continue to settle the waves of your breath, notice any thoughts that arise. Memories or perceptions that surface as little waves on your awareness. When we refer to the boundless ocean, we are really referring to boundless awareness itself. Awareness that knows no bounds. You may have a wave or thought of something from yesterday, from today, or what is to come tomorrow. People, circumstances, events that happen to you. But let them be just waves on the surface of the ocean. They are not different from awareness. They are part of this boundless awareness of the ocean of the heart. Turn again to your breath. Return inside your skin to the feeling of the presence of this boundless awareness inside your back, your legs, your arms, your belly. as any thought arises, notice how these waves of thought then return back to the ocean itself. No need to change them or get rid of them. Just notice the continuity between the waves as thought and this ocean of awareness. Now exhale to the lowest point of your breath, settling at the bottom of the ocean. And feel the swell of the ocean into your belly. And let's do that again. Exhale to the lowest point of your breath, settling at the bottom of the ocean. And feel the swell of the ocean into your belly. Now gently bring your hands to your heart center. Take one more inhale to the lowest part of your belly. Feel the swell. Exhale out your mouth. And then one more inhale to Om. Om. Gently cast your eyes towards the floor as they gently open. And then bring your awareness back into your space. Namaste.